Hey everybody, welcome back to the T26 channel and welcome to part 2 of our year-end review series where we are reviewing how our US men's national team players have done at their club teams for the first half of the season. And in this part, we're going to be moving on from our defenders and our goalkeepers and getting into the deepest, potentially the most talented part of our roster, which is our midfield. Without further ado, let's get into it, and we are going to start with one of our central defensive midfielders, Johnny Cardoso. And Johnny has had a little bit of an up and down start to his season. He got off to a bit of a slow start with Real Betis, with the new manager coming in, trying a few new things. It took Johnny a little while to really settle into his spot after having really cemented himself in there in the last half of last club season. He continues to grow and improve and prove himself worthy of more and more responsibilities, both at the club level and hopefully at the national team level. As he continues to perform with his club, he's getting continued interest from bigger and bigger clubs across the country for loan moves to really help bolster their midfield and control the game. While I said Johnny got off to a little bit of a slow start, he has really picked up in the back 2/3 of the first half of the season. He's played almost 1,500 minutes across 21 matches in all competitions, and he has 1 goal and 1 assist. So as a central defensive midfielder, his contributions, his bigger contributions, often go a little bit unnoticed. They often come away from the ball, and he does a lot of really good and helpful things away from the ball. For instance, his reading of the game is at a very high level. Johnny is continuously disrupting and cutting off passing lanes in the opponent's attack, and he's doing a really good job breaking lines, connecting passes, and really helping to start the transition. He's not necessarily the end piece there. He's not putting the ball in the back of the net all the time. I would love to see him become a little bit more goal dangerous, but the work that he does on the defensive side of the ball, it's incredibly valuable, and he is doing a great job with it. Overall, I'm putting him in the S tier for the first half of the year. Again, a lot of what he does goes beyond goals and assists, and it's harder to measure, but if you watch him play, you will notice the control and the influence that he has on the game. And now I'm just really looking forward to him capitalizing on an opportunity with the national team. Second on our list is another central defensive midfielder, and that is our 2022 World Cup captain, Tyler Adams. And just like Johnny, Tyler is a very solid defensive midfielder, and he puts in some really hard-working shifts and does a great job breaking up the opponent's attacking fluidity. He's had some very strong performances this year, but he hasn't really been able to link them together due to continuous injuries. Because of those injuries, Tyler's only appeared in 11 matches so far this season, logging 593 minutes across all competitions. Whether it's his back or his hamstrings, his health concerns continue to be an issue, and they are slowing him down. They're slowing his development. Every time he's healthy and he plays, he looks good. He's doing what we would expect from him. But he can't stay on the field consistently enough to really build that momentum and give us that confidence that we're looking for, that we know Tyler's going to be around for the next World Cup, and we know he's going to be healthy, and we know he's going to be able to impact games. Currently, we don't know any of that, and he's almost in and out every month at this point. Because of his lack of availability and his lack of minutes and my overall concern for his health, I have to put him in the N category as not good. Fingers crossed that the second half of the season he is injury-free. He can go into the summer, get some good minutes with the US men's national team, and I think if he can do that and if he can stay healthy, there's no reason why he can't be up in the S category and really be a superb addition to his team moving forward. But right now, based on his minutes, based on his health, he's got to go in the N category, and I'm really looking forward to him being healthy again. Third on our list is another potentially central defensive midfielder, maybe that number 8 box-to-box kind of guy, and that's Tanner Tessman. Tanner is a guy who I think is a little bit on the outside looking in when it comes to our midfielders if everyone's healthy. While he might not be in our top choice of midfielders, he's definitely one who is pushing our starters every single day. He's part of that depth piece that I think is so critical to being a very solid, very top-tier national team or team at any level, is the depth piece and always having guys ready to challenge, ready to step into that starting role. Over the summer, he made a move from his former club in Serie B in Italy, Venezia, to League One side, Lyon. And I wasn't really sure that this was going to be the right move for him. Tanner was with Venezia, who had just gotten promoted to Serie A, and we know Tanner can play there. But he wanted to push himself. He needed to get out a little bit because the transfer rumors were all swirling, and well, Venezia decided to move on from him because they weren't sure he was going to be there. And while it's taken a little bit of time for him to really get acclimated to the game in France, to get acclimated to his club and surroundings, he's doing a good job. He's still pushing himself further, and he's looking good. Most importantly, we can see that he's growing. In 16 matches, he's played 656 minutes, so we need to see that go up. We need to see his play get a little bit more consistent before I think it justifies calling him in over anybody else if everybody's healthy. Because Tanner is in a new situation, he's acclimating well, but his minutes aren't there, the playtime's not quite consistent enough, he's going to go in that M category. He's doing a good job, and he's still growing at his club and getting more comfortable, but we need to see him take on a little bit more and take a little bit of a larger role going forward before we can consistently put him in that S category and say that he should be one of those ones getting called into the national team. The fourth midfielder that we're going to cover is none other than Weston McKennie. And Weston has been a staple in the U.S. men's national team program for the last 4 or 5 years. And he's also been, a little bit of a roller coaster for both club and country. Weston has yet again proven himself to be indispensable at Juventus. When everyone thought he was on the outs, he pushed his way back in, not only to the club, but to the starting 11, and he has the utmost trust from his manager now, which over the summer, it didn't seem like he even had a spot on the team. Again, through his play, through his hard work, through his efforts, he has proven himself to be 100% a key part of the success at Juventus, and they cannot drop him right now. Weston has played over 1,200 minutes across 20 matches in all competitions, and he's scored 4 goals and added 2 assists to his total. He's played just about everywhere on the pitch in that time as well. Who's to say that he wouldn't have more goals and assists if he wasn't filling in at left back and right back every now and then for his club, where he's putting in solid defensive performances. Are they perfect? No. Is Weston a left back or a right back? No, he's a box-to-box midfielder who can influence the game with his hustle, his pace, and his creativity, as well as his physicality and inability to dominate on the ball at times. So far, he's solidly in the S category, and I hope in the spring the entire club gets healthy again and Weston can get back to playing that box-to-box number 8 midfield role where we always see him thrive. That's his best role, and if he gets more consistent time there, there's no reason that he can't jump up into that U category, as we know he is unbelievable when he's in that position, and he is absolutely indispensable for Juventus, and that's where he's going to make the most impact for them going forward. Moving on to another midfielder who is playing and finding time in Serie A is Yunus Musa, and the 22-year-old AC Milan midfielder is starting to find his footing. His levels of play have been consistent with what we've come to expect from him, but we still want to see him grow a little bit more, and his play time has still been a little bit inconsistent at AC Milan. The first half of the season has not been great for the club, as they're currently sitting in 8th place and they're out of spots for Europe, and they just fired their manager. Yunus has logged 962 minutes across 20 competitions this season and has 2 assists to his name. Early on, we saw Yunus start to adapt a little bit more of a decisive, aggressive play style in the final third, which I think we've all been waiting for, as he's continuously shown he's great off the dribble, great on the turn, but that quality in the final third was lacking a little bit. And he started really strong, providing assists and looking good and looking dangerous. That has since faded a little bit, as his playtime has faded a little bit. Hopefully the new coach at Milan can organize the team and bring the best out of Yunus. He's already shown that he does have some trust in Musa, as he brought him on as a sub and he did well in the Supercopa semifinals, and then actually gave him more minutes and more responsibility in the finals, which they ended up winning against Inter Milan. So if Yunus can find his footing and really show that he belongs under this new manager, I think he's really set up for a great second half of the season. He currently is in the M category for me, but a few small changes, a little bit more consistency in his playtime, that's going to be an easy bump up into that S tier. We just need to hope that he does make the most of his minutes. Gianluca Busio is another midfielder playing in Serie A who has gotten minutes for the U.S. men's national team the last year. Busio is having a growth-filled year at Venezia. The start of his season was plagued by injuries with Venezia, but ever since he came back in the middle of September, he's looked very comfortable in their starting 11, and he's logged plenty of minutes to prove that he is one of their key players. Busio has logged over 1,400 minutes in 17 matches with his club and has actually scored a goal as well as just contributed to the overall attack and fluidity of their offense. They are a relegation battle side, so a lot of times they are getting dominated on the ball, but those positive moments, those positive times of build-up and synchronous play, Busio's been involved in all of that, and he deserves to have that credit where we saw him do it in Serie B last year. We weren't sure what he was going to do in Serie A, but he's looked like he belongs. He's looked very comfortable, and I'm really happy to see that growth. And I think that if he does make it out of this relegation battle and Venezia stays up, that's going to be a great experience for him, and that'll be very good for the club. If they do unfortunately go down at the end of the season, I'm hopeful that his play has caught the eyes of enough other clubs in Serie A where he can get to a more stable situation and maintain his status in Serie A. Based upon his performances in the first half of the season, he's going to get an S from me because he's exceeding expectations and he's one of the better players on his team today. And we know that if he were to go out of the lineup, they would be in big trouble. So he is confidently in the S category for me. Next up, we're moving on to Aidan Morris, who's playing in the Championship in England. Aidan Morris made the move to Middlesbrough over the summer to push himself at a higher level and break out of MLS. And it's appeared to have worked so far. He appears to be very comfortable at that mid-level step up, right? He's not in a top 5 league yet, but we do know the quality that is in the Championship. And Aidan Morris looked comfortable almost immediately. Early on in the season, Aidan Morris was almost irreplaceable for Middlesbrough, playing 14 of 15 league matches and logging 1,300 minutes over 17 matches across all competitions. Unfortunately, Aidan was slowed down, however, by a knee injury that he sustained in mid-November, and it looks like he's going to be out until the end of January. Hopefully, he can come back and regain his form quickly to have a big second half of the season, but right now, I can only give him an M. He had enough consistent play in the first half where I think it was a good season, but I can't really say he was superb, and I can't say that he's 100% critical to the team's success when he's missed their last 11 games. So he's missed almost 40% of their games. I'm gonna have to put him in the M category. He's having a good season. Health and good performances in the second half are really gonna carry him up the ladder. Now we're gonna move on to another one of our players who's playing in La Liga, and that is Luca De La Torre. And there's not a whole lot to be said for Luca this season. He's pretty much had a nightmare of a first half. Luca didn't make the bench the first 3 matches of the season as transfer rumors swirled around him and the club wasn't really planning on him being a contributing factor going forward. After those first 3 games, he suffered an ankle injury in training and he missed games all the way up until December, so he hasn't had much of a season so far. He finally made a 3-minute cameo appearance on December the 6th, and he also made a 27-minute appearance for Celta Vigo in the Copa del Rey, where he did get an assist. So we do have to credit him there. He's made the most of the 30 minutes that he's gotten this season, but truthfully, that's just not enough, and the rumors continue to swirl. Where's Luca gonna go? I don't know, but he needs to be playing if he wants to have any chance at breaking back into the midfield for the U.S. men's national team. Because of the injury and because of the lack of playtime, Luca is firmly going to go in our T category as he needs to have a transfer in the January window. Otherwise, his season's not going to turn around, and I wouldn't expect to see him in March or in the summer at all for any of these U.S. men's national team games. Playing 30 minutes in half of the season just is not going to cut it. Now we're going to move on to Malik Tillman, and Malik is one of the more exciting, creative players who's really enjoying his season at a very high level right now. He's almost played 2,000 minutes across 25 matches for PSV this year, and he's got 10 goals and 4 assists to his name. Malik is a player who brings a lot of creativity and a lot of control to every single game in the midfield, and he has proven to be pretty lethal in front of goal as well. While in the past he's been accused of being kind of a minnow killer and just taking advantage of those smaller clubs, whether it be in the Scottish Premiership in the past or in the Eredivisie, but crumbling when he came up against tougher competition. He's actually starting to overcome those and put in some good performances against those top couple of clubs in the Eredivisie, as well as looking more and more comfortable in the Champions League. I'd love to see him finish out the season with PSV, really continue to have that good confidence and maintain his form throughout the rest of the season, and then over the summer potentially look for a transfer to a top 5 league where he can push himself and continuously play the top levels of competition instead of those minnows in the Eredivisie. And then hopefully we can see that translate over the US men's national team games. As we've seen in the past, Malik has not quite adapted and not quite shown his best in the national team games, and I'm thinking that's because he's used to being able to switch off a little bit, and being in a top 5 league is going to take that away, where he's going to have to be on every single step of the way. Right now, again, all we can do is judge based off of what we've seen him do, and he's been immaculate for PSV. So we're going to put him firmly in the S category as well, and if we can see him continue to do this and continue to really lead that team, who knows? Maybe he gets it up into the U category. Maybe he gets a move and we see him test himself at a higher level. I'm excited for it. And now finally for our last midfielder and potentially one of the most crucial ones to the success of the US men's national team, we're going to talk about Gio Reyna. Gio is probably one of the most frustrating cases when it comes to US men's national team players. He's supremely talented. He controls the game so well and he opens so many doors for his teammates, but he just can't stay healthy. 2 games into this season, he suffered a groin injury, and we hadn't seen him until November. Since then, he's only played 320 minutes across 8 matches, scoring 1 goal. He continues to show his quality whenever he gets on the field, and he continues to make impact when he does get more than 10 or 12 minutes. However, he's also very clearly the second, maybe third choice at Borussia Dortmund right now, and that kind of little playtime, those little cameo appearances, they're not going to do him any justice. They're going to lead to more injuries and more inconsistencies in his play. Gio needs to find a move in this January transfer window to find consistent playtime and get away from Borussia Dortmund's medical staff. They have absolutely ruined him. Currently, he's in that not good tier right now because he's shown the quality to be in the S tier, he's shown the quality to be in the U tier, he just needs to get those minutes. And I'm thinking that based on the performance he's put in and the ability that he's shown, he's not having a terrible season, but it's definitely not great. So Gio is in our N category right now, but again, with a transfer and consistent playtime and consistent health, I see no reason why he can't get up into that S tier or into that U tier as well. All right, guys, that wraps up part 2 of our 3-part year-end review series. Drop a like and leave a comment down below, and let me know whose performances you're most excited to see going into the second half of the season. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.